Think we're doing it? Is it going? Shit, who really fucking cares? Hey you guys, I'm back again. I'm kinda late. I planned to do this video before now, but life happens and then it says fuck you to me repeatedly. So today I'm going to do what I said I was going to do last week, which is talk about season 6 and just kind of overall how I felt about it. It went by really quick this season. I feel like it just started but now it's already over, and there needs to be like 24 episodes in a season. That would be better if we could do it that way. Scott Gimple, come on now, let's be real. I'm not going to go too in depth here on like singular episodes. I'm gonna point out some episodes within the season that I either hated or liked and kind of talk about them. Let's just dive right in, okay? The first episode of the season was called First Time Again. It was the premiere episode. I felt good about this episode because for a premiere episode, I thought it was pretty good. One of the best parts of the episode, I think, is seeing the herd and seeing them try and get the herd to go in this path that they made, and then it ended up screwing them over in the end anyway. I mean, we should have known, honestly. I really liked the black and white stuff. A lot of people complained about it and they didn't like it. As someone who is obsessed with that particular era in film and television, you know, back in the, 40s and kind of early 50s and stuff. The black and white era of movies and television, I love that because that's my thing. But, I think a lot of people probably don't, and that's fine, but I thought it was really helpful to differentiate what was flashback and what was present day, because a lot of the times people get confused with what's a flashback and what's not on this show, and that was really helpful actually. So I'm not mad at it. I thought it was good. I'm going to talk about episode 3, which was Thank You, and that's the episode where Glenn had his quasi-non-death. Now, I do have some issues with this episode because I felt like there was so many plot holes, it's not even funny. It's the Glenn thing. I mean, I thought it was stupid to begin with. I don't know why they would do that. It made no sense. It was so pointless. It was pointless because he ended up being perfectly fine. Nothing even really happened, he hid under a dumpster. They took Steven Yeun's name off the credits, for God's sakes. What kind of shit was that? It was so stupid. Just the whole thing was so stupid, and I'm still mad about it. I'm going to continue to be mad about it because I have a feeling in my gut that he's going to be the one that dies by Negan, and I'm really mad about that because I want it to be Daryl, by the way, but I'm not going to get what I want. But I don't want it to be Glenn. Anybody, but not anybody, but okay, Abraham, somebody, anybody, not Glenn, okay? But I feel like it's gonna be, and I'm really mad about that because that's not fair, okay? You can't pretend to kill him and have him come back and be perfectly fine just to kill him again. What the hell is that? Like I'm saying, I hope he's not the one. I really don't want him to be, but we're gonna pretend like episode 5 never happened, so let's not even talk about it. Episode 6. Always Accountable. This is the episode where Dwight shows up, okay? And I said it at the time. You can go back and check the video. I said it at the time that Dwight was going to be in that episode. And everybody's like, that's not Dwight. And I'm like, really? That's really not Dwight, huh? I say this shit all the time and people just ignore me. And I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. And then what happens? And then what happens? Dwight. And I loved that episode simply because of Dwight and like the beginnings of the Saviors action. I loved that shit. Even though it was a pretty Daryl-centric episode, which, but I'll forgive it because it was Dwight, okay? Like, it was great. I loved every minute of it. I'm still confused as to whether or not that woman was Sherry. I'm assuming that because she was with Dwight that's Sherry, but who the fuck knows. But that whole episode was just, it was great. I loved it. Okay, episode 8, start to finish, that was the mid-season finale. My complaint with this episode is that we just didn't cut it off. See what I mean? That we didn't cut it off when we should have. This episode would have been great, like would have been A+ great, flawless, if they would have just ended it where I wanted them to. I would have been a lot happier if this episode would have ended where the next episode, about midway through it, if Jesse and company would have died at the end of this episode, I would have been A-okay. And then we have episode 10, The Next World. I'm still not over this episode. It's been months, and I'm still not over it. This is the episode where not only did we get the introduction of Jesus, which I loved every minute of. Jesus, love you, man. Which is so great. I never mentioned this either because I never talk about it. But Tom Paine as Jesus is literally everything. He is so good. He's so... oh god, he's just good. He's just a perfect Jesus, okay? I love him so much. I can't wait to see more of him. I'm really disappointed that we didn't get to see him before the season was over with. Like, where did he go? Did he go back to the hilltop? Is he with Gregory? Is he like running around somewhere? Is he at the kingdom? Where the fuck is Jesus? At the end of the episode, Rick and Michonne. I'm still not over it. I'm never gonna be over it, okay? Okay, and then we have episode 11. That's when they go to the hilltop and they meet Gregory, who I love Gregory. I mean, he's a son of a bitch. He is. I kind of love to hate him, or hate to love him, or both. I don't know. And then that's kind of when this is the episode when Rick finds out about Negan. Which, what the fuck? Let's just back the fuck up for a minute. You're telling me that this is the first time Rick's ever heard of Negan? Daryl and Abraham said that it had been, what, 2 months? A month? Since they had ran into the Saviors? And they still hadn't talked to Rick about it? Whatever, I mean, fine, but like I said, plot holes, okay? What the fuck? You think they're not gonna go back and tell Rick about something like that? So they find out about Negan, and then they make this, oh boy. Then they make this stupid plan to go after him and kill him, and then they get to have his half of the supplies. Great. Okay. This is where it all starts to go downhill, because they should have never fucking done that. I've said it. How many times now have I said it since it happened? Should have never fucking done that. Because look where we are now. Okay, I mean, in a way, I wish that they wouldn't have, because this shit. But then there's also, like, I would have never saw Negan if they wouldn't have done it this way. Still, though, stupid fucking idea. Shouldn't have done it. Episode 12, they attack the compound, which is not really his compound. It's just one of many outposts that he has, and he has men at every outpost, you know. And then there's the compound where he lives. You really think Negan's gonna fucking tell them where his compound is? So they think that this is his compound, and they go in there and they kill all these people. That's when Glenn sees the pictures of the Lucille's victims on the wall, and then that's when I started to have my meltdown, because I thought, you ain't fucking killing Glenn, no you're not. That's when all that happens. Glenn kills somebody, which I still can't believe they did that, because it's like, even in the comics, he never killed anybody. Why did they do that to him? And then, episode 16, Last Day on Earth. There was only one thing that I wanted out of this episode. Period. Point blank period. The only thing I wanted out of this episode, the only thing I was waiting for, the only thing I really cared about, was Negan. And the build up to Negan, with the Saviors, you know, that every time that they would come across another bit of them, they got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and then there was like that big pile, like the fact that Negan had them put a bunch of trees in the road and then set it on fire. Like, this whole episode was Negan trolling them. That's all that was. He was just, like, the fact that he made them do that. And you kind of saw a little bit more of how nasty the Saviors can be, especially with that one guy they captured that I guess they thought was with Rick. And they, like, hung him off the bridge and shit. It was fucked up, man. People, like, said, well, we spent all this time in this fucking RV and then we don't get Negan till the very end. And people complained a lot about this episode. I didn't mind it one bit, you know. The fact, you know, I liked the build up to Negan, you know, because you had to go through all these people before you could ever get to him. And then you have Negan. I fucking love him. Okay, I do. Jeffrey Dean Morgan is Negan, bitch. And I've already talked about how I feel about Negan, but he was perfect. Perfect, 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 and perfect. In this episode, and I've already talked about how I felt about the cliffhanger too, I'm not mad at it because, like I said, the only thing I wanted was Negan and I got Negan. And I kind of feel like if I would have known who died, I don't know, I felt like, I don't know, I'm kind of happy that I don't know yet. I don't know why, but so I'm not really that mad about it. A lot of people are. A lot of people were really giving that episode shit because of it, but you know, it's a show, and they do that. That's pretty much an overview of Season 6, and pretty much my kind of closing conclusion here to how I feel about Season 6. I'll be honest with you. I always am, but just so you know. Not completely, like, okay, I didn't hate it, and I don't think it was the worst season, but I don't think it was the best, and they could have done a lot better. There's some things that they shouldn't have done, that just wasted time, that there was plot holes, there was these pointless characters that didn't mean shit at the end of the day, that shouldn't have stuck around as long as they did. Jesse. I do think that there's an issue with the writing on this show right now, and I hope that they sort that out because I think that it's, you know, there's just some problems. Overall, I'm satisfied with it. I would give it like a 7.5 out of 10. My issue lies with the showrunner and with the writers. That's where my issue lies, and I feel like they need to sort some stuff out, figure out what they're doing. That's my issue with this season, basically, but they could fix that if they just pay attention to what they're doing, okay? Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about it. Like I said, not the worst, but not the best. So, what did you think of this season? And what would you have left out or put in that didn't get put in? Or, what would you rate it? Like I said, I'm a 7.5 out of 10. What would you rate it? And what were some of your favorite parts? And what were some of your least favorite parts? I'd love to know. Tell me things. So yeah, that's gonna do it for me for this week. I'll see you again very soon, I'm sure. Until then, I am Officer Friendly, over and out. Goodbye!